the average person doesn't really understand what we're missing. Okay, so there's a building, just build another one. Rav Pinchus writes that an analogy of what happened. This is written at the end of a book called Sparks of Majesty, and it's in the end of the book. And he says, imagine there was a Jewish community in Poland, and one day everybody woke up, and to their surprise, the sun didn't go up. The sun didn't rise. Everyone checked their clocks, their watches. They said, yep, sun's supposed to be up. But the sun didn't go up. They waited. Nothing happened. A few people talked to each other. No sun. Hours upon hours passed and no sun. Okay. They went back to sleep. Perhaps tomorrow will be another day. But the day passed and the sun still didn't come up. And this continued on for another day, another week. And after a couple of weeks, the people of the community said, okay, well, doesn't it look like the sun is gone? We have to pretty much start living life assuming that the sun will never go up again. So the community leaders gathered together and they said, listen, we have to make sure everybody's aware what's happening, but we have to obviously give people the ability to live. We have to build a factory for an unlimited supply of candles. So everybody is able to have candles at all times. Because as we know it, the sun is never going back up again. And so the construction began, and they built the factory really fast. Of course, everybody contributed, everybody built, the factory's up and running, and everyone started walking around with a candle at all times. And months passed, and people got used to this. They got used to the fact that there's just a candle, and that's where the light's coming from, and there's no sun. And months passed, and before you know it, years started passing. And everyone got so accustomed to it that this is simply what they thought is going to be forever. It got to a point where people started having kids that never saw the sun. And as those kids grew up, all they had is stories of how the sun used to look like, this big ball of fire that used to hang in the middle of the sky and light everything. And the kids loved the stories and everyone connected to it. But they truly couldn't comprehend what's there, but sure. Seems wonderful. And more time passed. And more kids were born. And those kids grew up. And they had kids. And the next generation of kids also didn't know what the sun looked like. And the stories had a little bit less effect on them. Until one day, the people announced a big announcement. Someone invented the electric bulb. And they brought this electric bulb to all of the different houses, and everyone was so excited about it. And they brought it to one house where there was a really old man in there. One of the few remaining people that actually saw the sun. And they wanted to see what the old man thinks of this. Look at this amazing invention. This must be what the sun looked like. And the old man nodded his head and started crying. I said, why are you crying, Grandpa? He says, no, it's not the sun. What do you mean? But look how much light. The candle was only able to give us light just for us to see right in front of us, a couple of feet in front of us, where the light bulb lights up the whole room. Is it not even as good as the sun? And the old man says, no, it's nothing in comparison to the sun. The sun used to bring light, not just to the entire room, not just to the entire street, and not even to the entire town, but the entire world would have a light that's unmatched. Even if you took all of the light bulbs in the world and combined them, it still would be unmatched to one ray from the real sun. And of course, this new generation had no idea what this old man is talking about. What do you mean? How can it have so much? Says Rav Pinchus, this is where we are, this is where we are. In the beginning, the sages that saw the destruction cried so much that Rabban Gamliel cried so much that the eyelashes fell out. He cried so much that he had no eyelashes anymore. The sages literally would cry to the point where people would pass out from how much mourning. But as the generations continued, only hearing stories of the Beit HaMikdash and becoming more and more removed from the Beit HaMikdash, people started thinking, why are we mourning? What is it? Maybe we can have another little building. Look at how big this shul is, and look how big this yeshiva is, and look how great this tzaddik is. And the average person has no idea what the Beit HaMikdash even looked like in real life. Because in their imagination, it's just a building. Just like in the imagination of that story, it's just light. What's so different about some light bulbs versus the sun? The only way that we can truly understand what the Beit HaMikdash is if we cleave ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in His Torah. And the more we do it, the more HaKadosh Baruch Hu literally instills knowledge in us. You're not going to get the impression of what the Beit HaMikdash is from any cartoon or any picture. You're going to get it if HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you can handle the information. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi used to offer 24 explanations to the verse that discusses the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, while Rabbi Yochanan used to offer 60 different explanations. This is not because Rabbi Yochanan was a greater scholar than Rabbi HaKadosh. Rather because Rabbi HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he lived in a generation where some of his elderly congregants were survivors of the Beit HaMikdash Holocaust. Some of his congregants saw the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And by the time he got to the 24 explanation of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the wailing, the crying from the congregants was so loud that no one could hear anything else that he's saying. Whereas Rabbi Yochanan lived at a time where none of the congregants saw the Beit HaMikdash.